Yo, what's going on, family? Listen, I'm Colin. I'm with the co-host Hundo, and we're talking all NBA. We just recorded an episode earlier today where y'all have all the content with the NFL with Hundo and John, but we're on the eve of the trade deadline, so we wanted to do a special episode for you guys to just focus on NBA content right now. And if you have seen anything in the headlines, you know that with all of the Giannis rumors, the AD questions, even Job Morant's name is in trade talks. We're staring at potentially all-time trade deadline, or we could just be like every other year and just keep going and wait until the off season. But if you're in the hoops, this is the episode you want to lock in for, because for the next hour or two, we're just going to be talking strictly NBA content. So let me start with this. So we're in week 16 of the NBA season, and the All-Star game is coming up, Hundo. We talked about in the group chat the number of people that were either left out or added in. So I want to start there, and let's talk about All-Star weekend. How did you feel about the people who got the nod and, people who got potentially snubbed?
Yeah, I'm not too mad at who they selected. There's a couple of people who I thought probably could have got in
Yeah.
over a couple of other people. But overall, I think the rosters was good. I like the Scotty Barnes pick with him making the All-Star game. Jalen Johnson's been hooping for Atlanta.
Hmm.
And on the west side, Denny, he's been hooping with Portland. Definitely didn't expect Portland to be playing how they're playing right now. So definitely a good pick for him. And shout out to Jamal Murray, man, finally making the All-Star game.
Yeah. So just to clarify for those who haven't been tapped in, on the East we have Giannis, Jalen Brunson, Tyrese Maxey, Jalen Brown, and Cade Cunningham are all starters. Their reserves in the East is Scotty Barnes, Jalen Duran, Jalen Johnson, big name, Donovan Mitchell, Norman Powell, Pascal Siakam, Carl Anthony Towns. In the Western Conference, we have Steph, of course, Luca, Shea, and then Jokic and Wemby round out the starters. And then the reserves, we have Denny Avia from the Trailblazers, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, Anthony Edwards, Chet Holmgren, LeBron James, and then Jamal Murray. Okay, so who do you think out of that list got snubbed?
I think I immediately go to the West. And I texted you this. Kawhi definitely
Yeah.
could have got in. You had mentioned Sengun, definitely could have got in. And then on the East, I mean, I think that you could make a case for, Brandon Ingram, somebody like that. Um, but other than that, I mean, I think they pretty much got it right.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I think shout out to Denny Avia. Like, he's putting up legit numbers across the board in Portland, really carrying. And Norman Powell going from the Clippers to Miami, he's really the engine behind their scoring in Miami. I thought it was really going to be Tyler Hero, but looking at the stats, like it's really Norman Powell carrying. And I think it really shows you how much the league is starting to value like these big wings and these microwave guards, which is why I text you about Michael Porter Jr. because like Michael Porter, left from Denver and he's actually low key been killing this season. And even though the Nets record doesn't reflect it, I think he's definitely one of the players that should have gotten a lot more votes, and I think might have should have gotten a nine. I just don't know who you would replace him with.
Well, I think the first person that you look at, especially in the East, Siakam. I mean, he's on one of the worst teams in the Eastern Conference.
Facts.
I mean, if we're factoring in team performance, which typically we do when it comes to things like this, that's probably the first person that I'm knocking off.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, but I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, the Nets and the Pacers, is it that much of a difference in the standings?
Yeah.
Not really.
That's true.
So I mean, that's really the only knock in the Eastern Conference. Like you said, like Norman Powell probably could have made it last year. Even
Yeah.
looking at his numbers then. Outside of that, I mean, who are you taking off? Everybody on here has been hooping in the Eastern Conference. So I
Yeah.
mean, that's really the only person that you probably could take off and replace is Siakam, and that's based off of the team's performance.
Nah, that's a fact. Like, I guess, like going from the snubs, like who is your biggest surprise, like on these lists?
Um, I'm glad that Jalen Johnson got the recognition that he's getting, because he's been hooping.
Yeah,
Um, definitely. I mean, had he gotten left off or snubbed, I mean, people would have talked about it, but like, I don't think anybody would have been like butt hurt that he missed it. But I'm glad that they put him on there. Um, Yeah, I mean, I'm not really surprised by really anybody in the West. I mean, you could say LeBron, but like, and I'm sure we're going to talk about it because I know how you feel about LeBron. But like, if this is his last season, I get why they did it. It makes sense from that standpoint. If this is his last season, I get why they did it. But outside of that, I mean, everybody else that's on this list, they're deserving of their spot, because they
yeah,
have been hooping. If you even look at somebody like Devin Booker, like despite everything that they went through in the offseason, one, I didn't expect them to be as high in the standings as they are right now,
yeah,
but he's been hooping at a very high level. I mean, you could even make a case for Dylan Brooks getting in. He's
yeah.
been hooping.
It's a fact.
But then again, you go back to, okay, who am I going to replace him with? Who is he replacing? So I
Yeah,
mean, yes, you can say LeBron shouldn't have made it. That's still only one spot for what, three people that could possibly make it, being Sengun, Kawhi, and Dylan Brooks.
yeah.
Either way, somebody's gonna get left out, as we know every year.
That's a fact. I would say my surprise is Jalen Duran. Like, and it's not like a surprise, like, oh, how did he make it? But like, I think for the longest we've been calling him like a good young big, but now we can say that he's a legit cornerstone and a clear cut all star level for now a winning team with Detroit. Like he's averaging 18 and 10, and he's averaging on like 64% from the field. And I think that, him being an anchor, he's kind of evolving from just a lob catcher and dunker. Like we can actually, trust in him to be, an anchor, like an actual piece that, people are willing to build around with him and Cade. Like I'm curious to know, just with all these trade talks, what they're going to do in terms of, Detroit. Are they going to, do they see their roster as set and they want to build around Cade and Jalen, or do they still think they need a piece, And for Cade and Jalen to be in the All Star game this year, I think it's just a sign that, these guys are not just flash in the bucket, that these are actually cornerstone guys. Um, yeah.
One
And go ahead.
one thing that I will add with Duran, like I think it helps that they're the number one seed.
Yeah.
Like had they been like the 4 seed and he's still been playing, putting up the same numbers, he might not have gotten in.
Yeah. That's correct.
Just off the strength of team performance, like I mentioned earlier with Pascal. Like, yes, he's putting up great numbers, but if they're not number one seed, I don't know. And
Yeah.
also to your point too, is like with them being the number one seed and with him getting his all-star nod, you have to keep him at this point. You can't trade him.
Yeah.
You're gonna trade an all-star center.
Yeah. And what's crazy now for Detroit is like you had the opportunity to pay him like a year ago. And with him being an all-star and Detroit being number one, I think he's going to get a max contract. And so what does that look like moving forward? Are we looking at Evan Mobley, or are we looking at something better that can actually win a championship with just him and Cade? So
Yeah. That's gonna be interesting. I think moving forward. I think, like I said, like I think team success definitely helped him. But like going, I guess against your point, like, can you run the offense through him? I don't know yet. Like, yes, he's shooting 64% from the field, but like, are we throwing the ball inside to him, telling him to go get a bucket?
yeah.
I don't know yet. So
Right.
if you have those questions, maybe you consider, moving him possibly, but I think they're gonna continue to build around Cade and Jalen. And I think you just gotta find those pieces that fit well with those two.
Yeah. So I guess like in that same spirit, like let's talk a little bit about Jalen Johnson, because we saw that Atlanta traded Trey Young, their franchise piece and cornerstone, to Washington for CJ McCollum. And it really was a sign that, they're kind of turning the page to a new chapter. And one of those emerging pieces was Jalen Johnson. So I guess my question to you is, do you think that this is, once in a lifetime, or are we going to start seeing Jalen Johnson as a perennial all-star?
That's still to be determined. I feel like he has some games where he shows flashes of being, this perennial all-star, but then again, he might have a game where he has a dud. Several of them, not just one, you know what I'm saying? So I think for him, it's about that consistency. And once again, like, they have to win games. Like, I think if they're just constantly around the play-in, he might get snubbed, regardless of him hooping. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if he gets snubbed. And he has to show that he can be that top option. I know CJ came in since the trade. He's been hooping coming off the bench. So, like, can Jalen Johnson be that top option? I don't know. I think they still have some moves to make in Atlanta. So that's going to be interesting to see what else they can add to his team, because that's going to show me if they believe that he's a 1 or 2 or, where he fits in the hierarchy on that roster.
Yeah, I guess that's going to be a big question going into the offseason, because, they potentially could have the number 1 pick. And I think if you believe that he's the cornerstone guy, I'm questioning, like, do you go get a Cam Boozer so that you can have somebody, in the front court that's kind of helping him in the scoring, like him being the scorer, you have a decent big, or do you go get a AJ DeBansa or a Darren Peterson, who are perimeter scorers that need the ball in their hands? Like, or, as we'll talk about later, do you make a trade with all those picks and try to go get a piece like Giannis in the offseason, or a Ja, So it's curious to know, like, what this is going to look like. And I think some of it, like you're saying, it's going to be the latter part of the season after the All-Star game where they're going to be making some determinations on what he is.
Now, I know one person that was mentioned with the Hawks was Anthony Davis. So let's say ideally they make a move for Anthony Davis. Who's the top option on that team? Anthony Davis or Jalen Johnson? If everybody's healthy, of course.
Jalen Johnson.
You're taking Jalen Johnson as the top option over Anthony Davis.
I think right now Anthony Davis is a better player, but the outlook of their team, I think they're focused on the future. And Jalen, they made the trade saying that Jalen is the future. I mean, he was nearly averaging a triple-double going into the All-Star game. So, I mean, like, it's not like it's a far-fetched, and we know AD's injury history. I think the franchise focuses on Jalen as the number 1 option. What do you think?
Yeah. I don't know if I'm sold on him yet, bro. I mean, I know he's been hooping pre-All-Star break. One, it got to translate to more wins, and I got to see it more consistently.
Yeah.
Like, you can't be a play-in contending team, and I'm just putting all my chips on you as the player. Like I said, like, I think it's still some moves that they have to make as an organization, and I'm going to be interested to see, who they do bring in, because I don't know if he's that number 1 option type guy yet.
Yeah, no, I agree.
He's a Duke guy too, so shout out to him.
Yeah, and I think, like, when he came out of Duke, like, nobody saw this, but his game is definitely translated well. So curious to see how that looks. So I guess another thing with the roster is talking about the U.S. versus the world. What I really love about, these selections is how crazy the whirlpool looks. Like, you got guys like Luka, Shea, Jokic, Wemby, Siakam, Murray, Avila, Cat. If you consider Cat still like Dominican, because I don't know.
You still consider him
I don't know where you say that. But they're your core world group. And honestly, I feel good about that squad, over the U.S. squad. And, obviously the name I didn't say is like Giannis, but you instill Giannis in there. And, like, there's debate about, like, who is actually better. How long can the U.S. continue to win in the Olympics? Are we still the superior brand in terms of basketball? Or is the NBA slowly turning into an international organization dominated by foreigners?
Well, I think to answer your one of your questions, I don't see any of these countries beating the USA anytime soon. Now,
Yeah,
if we're just talking about the world versus the US in this All-Star weekend, that's a different conversation
yeah,
because I don't know how this US team is going to match up with the world team just with the size. Um, that's a lot of size you got to deal with over there. So as far as like the Olympics, I think it's fine because all of these players are not from the same country when you talk about
yeah,
the world team, right? So that's always going to be a bonus, I guess, for the U.S. is you can gather all these the best of the best to go against these world players, but these world players are from all these different countries. So
yeah,
come Olympic time, U.S. will be fine. I think for the basis of All Star Weekend, they might be in trouble though. So
yeah.
yeah,
Because the for those who don't know, the format's changed. Like you're gonna have two US teams and then you're gonna have one world team, and it's gonna be like a round robin tournament with like 4 12-minute games. So, in the round robin tournament, team A will play team B in game one, and then the winning team from game one will take on team C. And you're gonna have the losing teams face off against each other, and then you're gonna have the winners in the championship game. And like Ando said, like I think the international players are going to take the All Star game more seriously because I feel like, like you said, because they don't have the, it's not international versus U.S. in the Olympics. Their teams are a little sadder than just this team currently constructed. But I think all these international players definitely want to make a statement to the U.S. and say that they're just as good as basketball, if not better.
I wonder also like how do the players feel about that conversation? Like, is that like a competitive like light a fire under them to say we beat a US team, or like I wonder what that conversation is like amongst players of like, yo, the international players are on top right now. Like, there's nothing these US players can do about it. Like, I wonder what that conversation is, and if it is that competitive on that level when we talking about NBA. I know like Olympic time is very serious. That nationalism, patriotism, playing for their country is big. But I
Yeah,
think when you look at it from the NBA perspective, I don't know if that's that big of a motivation, I guess is the right word. Um, but I definitely think that world team is going to give them some problems. What is your thoughts on the actual format? Because I know we've had conversations about Pro Bowl, about All Star Weekend, and how we can make it more exciting and all of that. What are your thoughts on this structure?
yeah. I mean, I appreciate the NBA trying to make changes in order to incentivize, more viewership. I feel like this year, hopefully, what happens is what we think is going to happen is true. Like the international players are going to take it seriously, and I think that if the international players thump the U.S., then it's going to put a little bit more excitement to next year's All Star game. Like, is it going to be a continuous cycle, or is the U.S. going to put together a squad to go against the international? But I mean, I feel like the nostalgia with the NBA. I still remember staying up and watching the East versus West. Kobe versus Bron, Kobe slapping the floor, going 1-on-1. Like, I still value that, and I think there has to be pride in the league to know that there's two different conferences, and the two different conferences are facing off against each other. I really believe that in the same way the MLB used to do with how the All-Star game affected the World Series. I feel like there should be some incentive beyond money because these players are making more money than ever. But there was a pride thing that was associated with All-Star game before, and I think we're kind of losing that and trying to throw out different things, and it's slowly becoming the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, yeah. Like, it's just crazy to think that the Pro Bowl is now flag football. Like, and I don't think we're going in that direction with the NBA. Like you said, like they're trying all these different things, even with like the rookie and sophomore game. Like they're trying all these different formats, trying to keep it competitive, trying to keep it the viewership high. But it's just like at the end of the day, what can you do? Like you said, like having it tied to the conference finals or the NBA finals, my bad, not the conference finals, and putting that at risk of, home court advantage or whatever, maybe that can help. But then again, like the formatting of it is like now You can't do that this year
Yeah,
because you split it between the US and the world. It's not necessarily East versus West. So I mean,
yeah,
I respect the effort, but I honestly just don't think there's anything they can do to try to revitalize it and make it how it used to be in a sense.
yeah. And I don't know the fix. I feel like if we would have known more information about if this is Braun's last year or not, then I think that this All Star game, everybody would tune in because this will be his last All Star game, right? But I feel like with Braun just added into the roster, I feel like you could at this point in Braun's career, you can have a special slot open just for Braun to come in, like, and have your entire roster set. It just feels like I don't know, like when we talk about like the All Star game, I hear what you're saying about the snubs, but it's like okay, we're letting the Braun show linger and either lean into what it is or just leave him out and then add him in as a special addition to the All Star game, because I believe that we are just as NBA fans just waiting to see okay, like what is this going to look like? What is this going to be like? And if this is going to be the Braun show, make it the Braun show. Just lean into what it is.
Okay, question for you. I was thinking about this last night when we were talking about it, and I was like, I wonder if Colin thinks that like if LeBron would have just came out before the season and said this is his last season, like how would you feel? Like would that change how you feel about how this season is? One for him, two for the Lakers, and three for this All-Star weekend.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, because I think a majority of my life, like we're not gonna like cap, Braun was the face of the league. Like my entire childhood, we were debating on which finals is he going to, like who is he going to play. And as a basketball fan, those moments were special to me. And I was not around, well, watching the NBA when Jordan had the Wizards run, but I imagine for a lot of NBA fans, it was definitely worth watching to see the last ride. And I think if Bron would have clearly made this the last ride, then I think as an NBA fan, like you want to be a part of it. You want to see it. We were there for Kobe. But I think like it's just the enigma of not knowing, because people were talking about him going to the Cavs next year. Like if I'm judging you just as an NBA player on the court, then I have to call you out about not playing defense and taking plays off. And even with the All-Star selection, it's like we gotta keep it a stack and hold the criteria the same. Personally.
Now, I agree with you, but like I don't know, bro. Like I definitely feel like now like this is probably his last season, bro, because like the league clearly like knows something that we don't know.
Yeah.
If we're being honest, because there's no way this man should have made the All-Star game. Like let's keep it a stack here. There's no way this man should have made the All-Star game.
Right.
So I think they definitely know something. And then he was talking the other day. It was like, oh yeah, this might be his last time playing in MSG. Just like, oh okay, all right, this man about to wrap it up. But like going back to my question, it's just like, had he just said at the beginning of the season, yo, this is my last year. All of this makes sense. It's understandable. But like you said, it's just that we don't know.
Yeah.
So now if he does decide to come back next year, it's just like, dang, like we literally finessed this man into an All-Star game.
That's what I'm saying. Because it's Bron. And I think that because it's Bron, it's not fair to the players that got snubbed. And so that's what I'm saying. If it was his last year and he said, hey, this is the last ride, I get him making the All-Star game. This is probably like the Magic Bird last time Magic is in the league. Like, I get it. Those are monumental moments that you want to tell your kids about. But I guess that I don't know is what's kind of hurting my like ability to say, okay, like this is a legit roster. No bias.
Hey, he gonna come out during All-Star weekend and be like, he'll make an announcement. This is my last year. Breaking news. Everybody gonna be talking about it. Just watch.
Which is crazy. So let's segue. I'm gonna move the Giannis talk to last because I feel like that's been dominating a lot of our conversation. I want to actually talk about some of these teams going into the next half of the NBA season. I want to talk about some, like, if these teams are actual contenders in your eyes or if they're just pretenders. So I'm gonna just give you a list, and we're just gonna rapid fire.
All right, let's do it.
All right, so let's start with the Nuggets. Are they contenders or pretenders?
As of right now,
Yeah,
pretenders because of health solely. Once, I think Jokic actually just came back the other day.
Yeah.
He was actually hooping, but I don't, I can't trust it right now. I got to see how they look fully healthy. I know, like we said, Jamal Murray and Jokic in the All-Star game. Good first half, but they have been banged up a little bit. I got to see how they look health-wise in the second half of the season. So I'm gonna say pretenders right now.
I'm gonna say contenders. I think that if Murray clear All-Star, and I think that if Jokic come back healthy, you still have Cam Johnson. You still have, even like your Bruce Browns. And I guess the biggest question is going to be the young talent, like your Peyton Watson. Like, can they step up and play off time? Because I guess the biggest thing for them is once they get to an OKC or if they get to a Houston, can they have their role players to make plays? Because you know what Jokic is going to do. You know what Jamal Murray is going to bring to the table. But if they can't have these role players knocking down big shots, it's going to make or break the series, sadly. But I still think that they're fringe contenders. All right, so next is the Thunder.
Contenders. I know they've been up and down a little bit recently, but I'm still gonna say they're contenders. SGA, J-Dub, Chet, them boys, they can turn it up.
Yeah, I agree. I think Thunder's are contenders. I say this in football too. Like, if you can win multiple ways, I think you're a contender. And the Thunder have, exemplified that. Not only Shea putting the team on his back, but I think, with J-Dub, as he continues to get healthy, you still have key pieces like Kassan Wallace, Isaiah Joe. These players you can win the fight in different type of styles. So I think that they're definitely contenders. The Clippers.
Pretenders. I'm not sold on them. I know they've been hot recently. I know. Pretenders. They're not doing anything in the playoffs, bro. Like, let's cut it out. Let's stop it right now.
I will say the Clippers, I text you about it. The Clippers have been cooking, but I agree with you because James Harden and Kawhi, we know what's coming in the offseason. One of them's probably going to get injured or one of them's not going to come to compete. And we're going to do this year after year. And I think it's time after this season, blow it all up. Brad, go home. James, let's find him a destination and just start over because it's just not it.
Yeah.
The Warriors.
Pretenders.
Okay.
I don't think I have to explain that.
Yeah. Now, what I was going to ask is if miraculously they make a trade with Giannis, do you think they're still pretenders?
I think that helps their case a lot. I would probably move them into the contenders category if they're able to do that. But right now, as it currently stands, that's not the case. So until that trade comes through on my phone from Shams that Golden State has traded for Giannis and they haven't had to give up Steph Curry, cool.
That's fair.
But right now, pretenders easily.
Detroit.
As much as I don't want to say it, contenders. I'll give them contenders. Bro, you have to think, bro. They were contending last year.
Yeah, for sure.
They're the number 1 seed right now.
Yeah.
I gotta put them in that contenders category.
They're fringe contenders to me. I know they're the number 1 seed. I guess I want to see another scorer because I think the problem they ran into was when Malik Beasley could not hit a 3 to save his life. We're not going to talk about the betting and stuff like that, but when he couldn't hit a 3, their team was really shot and it was really Cade heavy. The questions we asked earlier about Jalen Duren, we're going to see in the playoffs. Is he the type of player that can go get a bucket, or is his offensive production relied on Cade and his offensive production? So the only thing is, when I talked about the Thunder being able to win multiple ways, I just don't see that many ways that the Pistons can win without another scorer, because it seems like they're relying on their young guys for defense. and just knocking down big shots, but Asar still hasn't developed into that offensive piece, reliant piece. I just don't know necessarily how much of a contender they are. So they're right on the line.
I just don't know if they make a move right now. I just don't know. Like, even if they do make a move, I don't know if it's going to be that move that you're looking for.
Yeah,
That can put them over the top and truly be contenders. It's like, I don't think they're going to make a major move where they're bringing in a third option type scorer, or somebody that can go get a bucket right now. I just don't see that happening. So I think as with the way that the roster is constructed right now and the way the East is looking as well, like, I think they have to be contenders with what they have.
Yeah, I get you. Cleveland.
Pretenders. Pretenders. I'm not sold on them, bro. Not sold on them. Pretenders easily.
Okay, so let's stay there.
And hold on, one more thing, because we got to talk about this. I understand moving DeAndre Hunter for cap space and money or whatever, but like, bro, that was dumb.
Yeah.
That was not a good trade for them, bro. I know Keon Ellis can be this 3-and-D type player. They hope that he could play alongside Donovan Mitchell, help him be off the ball, all of that, blase. No, bro, that was not a good trade, bro.
I think I completely agree with you. I mean, DeAndre Hunter, defensively, what he brings Cleveland, I think was enough to keep him on the roster because you're not going to get much defense from Darius Garland. Offensively, I think he could have contributed something, but in the playoffs, I think a DeAndre Hunter is what you need. They showed me that they weren't serious making this trade. Now, there were some rumors beforehand that DeAndre just wanted out. So I don't think either way it was going to work if he was on the roster or if he wasn't, because he just seemed like he didn't want to be there. Now, my question is, like, with Dennis Schroeder on the team with Keon Ellis, like, what does that dynamic look like? Like, are you bringing Schroeder off? Clearly, you're bringing Schroeder off the bench. Do you trade Lonzo now? Like, what does their bench look like? I'm just kind of confused on their plan moving forward.
Yeah, and then you got smaller. You look at it like DeAndre Hunter's a 6'7" wing, versatile defender. If anything, he can knock down a corner three or 3-point shot, right? Yeah. And then you go get 2 guards. You already got guards.
Yeah.
Like,
your foundation is set around guards.
Bro, what are y'all doing? And you already got a backup point guard.
Right.
I just they just need to blow it up at this point. I know we talked about it before the season about if they should or if they can Donovan Mitchell lead them, get them over the hump. And then this man, Tyson the other day talked about this is Donovan Mitchell City. Man, get out of here. Man, get out of here. That boy ain't bring no banners to the city, boy. Be quiet.
Even if he brought a banner, it's still gonna be Broad City, bro. Like,
and then he turned around and apologized, talking about some.
I didn't say that.
Like, bro, you bogus.
Yeah, I guess in that same vein too, it's like, what is the Kings' plan? What are you doing? Like, you have no point guards. You just have expensive DeAndre Hunter just sitting there. That's not a franchise cornerstone. Like, what are you gonna do? You just waiting on another team to need a DeAndre Hunter to trade for?
Bro, like, I don't know, bro. I don't know what they're doing, bro. You got Zach LaVine, you got DeMar DeRozan, you got DeAndre Hunter, Russ. You still got Sabonis over there.
Do you trade Sabonis?
They need to trade everybody. They need to trade everybody, cut them, just start over, bro, because they don't have any direction.
Yeah, I agree.
You got these young pieces, and then you got these old veterans. It's like, bro, like, what are y'all? And y'all aren't winning.
Never. Like, after that Mike Brown year where they made the playoffs with Fox and Monk, it just seemed like they were like, okay, we're close and we're just gonna blow it up. Like I'm confused. Like, what is your plan? And you talk about needing a point guard. You traded away Halliburton. You traded away Fox. Like, you can't have the cake and eat it too. I'm confused.
We got Russ.
Yeah, that's why they will always be a pretender to me. Toronto.
I like how they've been playing, but I'm gonna say pretender. I think how I'm basing this off of like pretenders and contenders is like, can they win a championship?
Yeah.
I don't know if they're there yet. Can they make it to the second round of the playoffs? Yes, they can get out the first round, but like I don't see them being a legit threat to win an NBA championship this year. But they have been hooping. I like what I've seen from Scotty Barnes, Colin Murray Bowles.
Yep. BI.
Yeah.
They have
RJ quickly. I like what they got over there.
Yeah, they have a lot of versatility on their team. So I think they're probably like a couple of years away from being an actual contender. But I think they have some movable pieces and contracts too. So depending on if they ever want to make a move, I think that would be a destination where they could, plug and play a guy to get them 20 a night. Boston.
Pretenders.
Yeah. I think the only good
Jaylen Brown been hooping. Simons was knocking down some shots the other day when I was watching him play. But I don't think that's gonna be enough come a playoff series to make it out the East. It's gonna be tough for them.
Yeah. There was a speculation that we try to make a trade for Vaka Zubac. I think that's the only way we would have been contenders because we're just going to need a big. It's only going to play its course, cool in the regular season. But when the playoffs, I think you're going to have to go against bigs, to win a championship. We don't have that, depth in the front court. So, yeah, I agree with you. Orlando.
Go ahead, take your trip to Disney World.
You don't even got to take a trip. Just go down the street.
Yeah, make a reservation. Do whatever you need to do. Get ready. Because no, pretenders. Easily.
Okay, I agree. And let's stay there for a minute. What do you do? I saw this graphic for the past 3 seasons. They've started out like 23 and 21. And it seems like they're always like, oh, if healthy, they would be contenders. You made the trade for Desmond Bane, and you're getting the same result. I saw like in the group chat they were talking about there was a rift between Paolo and Jamal Mosley. Like, you can say change the coach, but I think that there needs to be a fundamental change of the roster and philosophy because it seems like everything they're doing is just not working. What is your state on the Magic?
Yeah, I know health was a big question for them. One coming into the season and then this season as well. And then Paolo started off kind of slow. He's been turning it up recently, but like, yo, you supposed to be a top pick. Yo, I need more than 21. I need you to be up there. If he can get up to 26, 28 points per game, that changes it.
Yeah.
That changes it. So I don't know. Because like you said, from a roster standpoint, they have it. The talent's there. Just got to.
I don't see anything definitively better. Like when you look at the Raptors roster, how we talked about they have versatile wings and bigs. You have the same thing in Orlando, and you have more, I guess, of a veteran presence because Colin Murray-Burroughs is a rookie. So what's the difference? What's the disconnect? I feel like they should not be eyeing the play-in while the Raptors are like 4 or 5 seed in the East. Well, what's the difference?
And the crazy thing is, like, Orlando can be one of these like lockdown defensive teams. They just have to do it on a nightly basis.
Mm-hmm.
I think Mosley his identity can be, and then we've seen it in the playoffs, like built on defense. So it's like, yo, we got to get stops consistently, and we need Paolo to be that top option nightly.
Yeah. Do you blow it up if you don't make the playoffs or play in and get bounced?
I think they look to change head coaches. I don't think they'll blow it up because, like I said, the talent is there.
Mm.
I don't think you move off of Franz or Paulo, or they just got Bane. Like, that's really your big three right there.
Yeah.
Could you possibly move Suggs? Maybe. But I mean, even Suggs is a great defender. I don't know if I want to move him. Could you make an upgrade at center and move in Wendell Carter? Maybe.
Maybe move Jonathan Isaac. I mean, you got a star in Anthony Black. Like, and I don't know how is the guy from Michigan State doing this season. I don't know.
Richardson?
Yeah. Has he been playing?
11 minutes per game, 5 points per
5
game.
points. Yeah.
4 games.
I don't know. It's I don't know what their plan is. So, because clearly the East is only going to get better, and especially if they keep Giannis in the East, you know, they're only going to bolster up rosters, and they've been in the middle of the pack, you know, for the last 5 to 6 years. I just don't get it. Like, what do they want to do?
And I think it goes back to health though, because like we even look at last season, like they could have been higher up in the standings had they been healthy. We saw them compete a couple years ago in the playoffs against the Cavaliers. Like, the roster hasn't changed much from then, right? I mean, like, you look at it, like, I don't think they blow up their core. I think they keep their core intact, and I think you look to add those role players that can fit around them. But I think if they don't make the playoffs, I think they do look to make a change at the head coaching position, because they are right around 500. They aren't great. They aren't terrible. But I think we all expected more coming into the season. Like, I think, and I have to look back at it, but like, if we go back to like previous episodes, like before the season started, I'm pretty sure I said that the Magic had an opportunity to win the East. I'm pretty sure I said that.
Yep.
And they are in 8th right now.
Yeah. And, you know, one game ahead of Chicago.
Like, what? Yeah, they need to figure something out. But get ready for Disney World. Go see Mickey Mouse.
Yeah. So let's segue that to a team I had faith in that, you know, it's kind of disappointed me. Philadelphia. Contenders or pretenders?
I like how they've been looking recently. I think the Paul George news is definitely going to impact them. So whenever he comes back towards the end of the season, I think that's going to impact how they're playing. Hopefully they're healthy then when he does come back. But that was big news. Seeing him get suspended for 25 games because they were playing so good. I think had he been playing and they stayed healthy, I would put them in the contenders category. But I got to go pretenders, because I think, like I said, those 25 games that he missed is going to impact the chemistry. And then when he does come back, it's going to be a few games before the postseason. That's not going to be good trying to figure that out that late in the season, right before the playoffs.
Yeah. I agree. I want to say contenders because low-key, like, Embiid's been cooking. Like, he's, you know, he scored 26.2 points a game, 7.5 rebounds. Like, those are Embiid stats. But the problem is, like you said, what bothers me is the chemistry. I feel like every year we're dealing with one player out, one key player out, and then it's like the Maxey show, then it's going to be the Embiid show. What do they look like fully healthy? We've been waiting for this since Ben Simmons. It's like, what does this look like? What is the process? And obviously, Paul George puts a wrench in that. And we're going to rely on a very fragile Embiid and, you know, rookie VJ Edgecombe and, you know, a solid piece in Tyrese Maxey to carry you for 25 games. And if you're in the 8th seed or even a play-in, I just don't trust you to, like, go on an all-time run and go to an NBA Finals. So I definitely have to say pretenders.
Yeah. And like I said, like, I hate to say it because, like you said, like, we've been waiting on this team to be healthy. And they were actually healthy, like, the past, like, 20 so games. And they've been hooping.
Yeah.
They've been hooping, bro. And now it's just like, dog, Paul George going for 25 games. We got to hope we can stay healthy and continue to hoop without Paul George. That's a lot. I feel like that's asking a lot. So, like I said, hopefully they're healthy. They can stay healthy, and we can see how they look even without Paul George. But I just don't know. I don't know if they're gonna be able to. I don't know if Embiid gonna be able to stay healthy. In all honesty,
that's a fact, and that's
like,
real.
I just got a feeling he gonna get hurt during this 25 game window, and season gonna be over.
Yeah. And Embiid doesn't have the bandwidth nor the ability to go on this all-time run and to beat anybody in the West. So it's like, let's just be real about what it is. I just don't. This team currently constructed is not winning NBA Finals.
I agree.
Miami Heat.
Pretenders.
Yeah, I'm not gonna spend long with that. They just don't have the roster.
Yeah.
Question is, what do you do with the Giannis? Because they're in the mix, but it's like, what does the roster look like? I just don't know. Like, kind of, I think they're more well polished organization, but I still struggle with their plan. It's like, what is Bam? Is Hero your centerpiece? Like, you obviously got Norman Powell, who's an all-star, but Norman Powell is not young. So how do you build another team?
I will say, if they can get Giannis, that changes everything.
Yeah, but you're trading everything.
But also, it's like, okay, if I can keep Hero and Bam and get Giannis,
who are you giving up?
Norman Powell, young pieces, draft picks.
Milwaukee is going to want either Hero, Khalil Ware, picks, and I think it's going to be the Giannis Bam show. You can't say that's enough.
Okay. If that's the case, they're still pretenders, but like they have a shot.
Yeah.
I feel like they're in a better space with Giannis on that team than what they currently have. I would give them a better chance of competing with Giannis and Bam versus what they have right now.
For sure. You can say that about a 2/3 of the league. I mean, you just put a Giannis on the roster, yes, everybody has a chance. But the thing is like, okay, I think currently constructed, there are about 3 other teams that can give me a better offer for Giannis than Miami. And so if you strike out on Miami, do you go after Ja? What's the plan? Because you're going to need another piece. You're going to need a center, a franchise cornerstone. I don't think that's Bam.
I just don't think they do that right now. That's my only thing with that, right? Like, if they don't get Giannis right now, they're waiting until the offseason to make a move. Yeah. So by then, it might be clear that let's try to go get Ja. But is that enough? I don't know. I feel like Bam's been hooping, but like Bam has never been this player, similar to like Jalen Duren. It's like he's never been this player that you can throw the ball to and be like, go get a bucket. I'm not really sold on Bam being a number one type option for a championship contending team.
I think Bam's a go get a bucket guy. I just don't think he's a number one piece. I feel like you can be both and I just don't think he's a franchise cornerstone. Ja is a franchise cornerstone. Obviously no offseason stuff and no drama, but I think they're looking for Bam to be what he's not. I think he is like that Evan Mobley kind of 2, maybe 3 piece that on a championship team. He's just not ever going to be a number one. He wasn't number one at Kentucky.
I agree. I think that's what when you look at somebody like a Jimmy Butler who was able to, carry the team and cover that up a little bit, it's like you saw the importance of Jimmy on that team.
Yeah.
He's somebody who can go get a bucket when you need it.
That's true.
I just don't think that Bam is that dude that can go get a bucket when you need a bucket.
Yeah, that's true.
And be that top player that you need to compete for a championship. I just don't see that. I feel like whenever you have a big like that, like you have to be able to do both. You have to. You look at Wemby, you look at Embiid, you look at Jokic, when they're competing and healthy, playing at a high level, like those are the type of bigs that you want that can help you compete for a championship.
Yeah, that's true. Let's go to the West. We talked about the Thunder, the Spurs.
Contenders. I'll put them in that contenders group. This is solely off how they play against OKC. They show me they can beat them, compete against them. Wemby playing at a high level. Castle can shoot it. Fox doing his thing. Them boys nice, man.
I agree. I think they're one of the deepest teams in the league, honestly. They've got pieces, not just for now, but they got pieces for the future. So, I was very much, I guess, a couple podcast episodes ago, I was very pro going to get Giannis.
Bro, they
don't need it.
Hey, they don't even have to do that. I know we was talking about that before the season. Like, yo, the Spurs can really go get Giannis or like KD. Bro, they don't have to do that.
Yeah.
they can rock out with what they got, bro, and get a championship for real. Like,
yeah.
They are true contenders.
Which is crazy because, like, seeing Pop the way he is now, like health-wise, it's like, man, if he would have had this roster, what would, the dynasty have looked like? And I don't know, this is crazy to think, but we talk about Wemby, but it's like, man, Dylan Harper has been cooking, Stephon Castle, and even Vassell has been, contributing. And then they have their draft pick. So they could easily go get a Cole Pete next season and have their roster fully decked out.
Bruh, the crazy thing is, like, everybody was talking about, like, OKC and this run that they could go on, bruh. If the Spurs mess around and win this year, bro, at any moment, they still have the pieces to go get a star-type player if they don't want to stay young. Or they can stay young, like you said, still got their draft pick, still got these young players that's coming up through the system. Boy, it might get scary for San Antonio, boy.
And we haven't seen Wemby's peak. That's another thing.
Still getting better.
Facts. Scary, bro. The Rockets.
I'm gonna say contenders. I know they've been struggling a little bit offensively this year, just trying to figure it all out. Not having a point guard and Van Vliet being out all season. But I love their defense. I think that their defense can win them a series or two. They still got KD. They still got Sengun. If you can get those guys the ball in their spots, get them going two-man game, if Jabari can give you something offensively, Amin Thompson can get to the hole because he's still got to figure out a jump shot too. But if he can get to the hole, finish around the basket, I like this Rockets team.
Yeah, I do too. Obviously, we're waiting on what's going to happen at point guard. I'm looking at the stats now, and they're 17 and 4 at home, but they're average 13 and 13, on the road. And with them being, a mix between older and younger team, I think that is what I'm kind of worried about with them in the playoffs. Like, I think they need to continue to get, creep up in the standings. They stay at 4, then, they're going to have a better chance of playing, at home and have that home court advantage. But if they, slide late in the season, then I'm worried that they're going to have to go and play OKC in the second round or go even play Denver and play in that altitude. And I don't know how that's going to translate, especially, waiting on Van Fleet to come back. So I still see them as contenders, but I think there's a lot of work still to be done. And especially at the point guard position and offensively. I'm curious to know what that's going to look like. And with the Steven Adams injury, what is that going to look like? I know they still have Capella, but it's like, I think, with Capella and Sengun, can Capella and Sengun give you the same production that it would have been if it was Capella, Sengun, and Steven Adams? Because you could rotate bigs, and if anyone got in foul trouble or, just fatigued, you could always rotate and have 2 bigs on the court consistently.
And I think that's where your boy comes in. Jabari Smith.
Yes.
We need you to play like you 6'10", bro.
It's a
You
fact.
not little, bro. We need you to play like you 6'10". KD, we're gonna ask a little bit more from you. We need a little bit more. I think that's the piece.
Yeah.
You did want to move him. We need you to hoop, bro.
Yeah.
Let's go, Jabari.
Yeah.
It's time to take the training wheels off. We need you to come hoop.
Let me look at what his stats look like this season. Jabari Smith. So he's averaging 15 and 7. It's okay. Trying to see. Okay. There's 1 point steals, 1 block. Yeah, I agree with you. And Tari Eason too, because it's like you're gonna have to just win by committee sometimes, especially if one of those bigs go down, or I think he has the capability to play the 4 position as well. And he's averaging 12 and 6.
I think also they're in a good spot too, because like I don't think they're going to make a move before the deadline that like is anything major, but like yo, you can go get a backup big.
Yeah, for sure.
That's nothing, right? So if that is something that they need to consider or are thinking about, go do it. You got some pieces that you can move.
Yeah.
So if you think that they lack the depth at center, go get you a backup center.
Yeah.
That's easy to find.
Yeah. What's more of a priority for them, to get a backup center or get a point guard right now, or just wait the Van Fleet show out?
Well, I think Van Vliet's out for the season. I don't think that's. I feel like you got to rock with what you got. Like he tore ACL, so he's cooked. I don't think he's coming back this year, but I think you rock with what you got, because like even if you do go get a point guard, it's like I don't think they're making a move right now that's like just going to significantly change the trajectory of this team.
Mm-hmm.
Like if they do go get a point guard, it's gonna be like a role player. It's not gonna be nobody crazy. I don't think at this moment. Like I don't think they trade Jabari Smith to go try to get a point guard. I don't think that's gonna happen. I think they're gonna rock with what they got and like go get a role player. It's either a solid veteran that could be a point guard off the bench, or go get a backup big. I don't think they're gonna make any drastic moves right now, with the way this roster is constructed and where they are in the standings.
Or do you change it up and then put Amen at the 1, get Reed off the ball, and then just once Amen's facilitating the offense, and just put him at the dunker, to just sit there and then run the offense through KD and whoever and Sengun, and you just kind of win by committee at point.
Yeah, I mean that could be an option. I mean, you look at it, when they played the Spurs, they had Wemby guarding this man Thompson, just roaming around because he can't shoot.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, you could put him at the point guard position and try to hope he can facilitate at a high enough level to get it going. But I think they see more success with the ball in Sengun and KD's hands.
Yeah.
Letting them operate mid-range or, facilitating like that. So we're going to see. If anything, go get another shooter. But then it's like, what do you do with Amen Thompson? What does his minutes look like? Because he's one of the best defenders in the league. He just can't shoot.
Yeah, that's true. All right, Minnesota.
Pretenders.
Ooh.
Like coming into the season, I definitely thought they were going to be contenders, but like they haven't shown me anything to be like they can win a championship with the way this roster is constructed. Now, if they make a move for Giannis, possibly, like, hey, bro, this Giannis domino is big, bro. It can change the trajectory of a lot of these teams. So if they're able to pull off a Giannis trade, Giannis and AE, boy, might get scary in the West.
Yeah, I know we have beat this drum dead. It's just that Mike Conley thing, man. It's like Mike Conley, and the fact that like I don't see enough development with Terrence Shannon, and they're getting ready to. We're trying to trade Rob Dillingham, so it's like, what does your bench look like? I want to call them contenders because I think that AE could carry and JR is enough, but like I just don't see them going on a miraculous run and beating OKC, Houston, and all of them. So I don't know. Like obviously you say like the Giannis trade, but it's like, man, I feel like even if they just got one more piece, like they could have enough to support AE going on a tear.
Yeah, I hear you. And yo, I would be first in line to see AE go on a crazy run. I just don't think it's gonna happen, bro. I feel like it's only so much he can do. And I think the other year showed that when they matched up with the wasn't the Mavericks that they played? They ended up falling short too. It wasn't. I don't think it was last year. I think it was the year that the Mavericks were in the finals.
Yeah, because that was the year that Luka had that shot off Rudy.
Yeah. I think that showed how much AE can do. Like he needs the help.
Yeah.
And the West is only getting tougher. It only got tougher since then. So it's like if he couldn't get past the Mavericks with Luka, what's he gonna do against San Antonio and OKC and possibly Houston or Denver? Like it's only so much bro can do.
Yeah. And that's the thing, and that's what I'm saying. Like you run into a San Antonio, I'm not even worried about just Wemby. It's just like, look how deep the Spurs can go compared to your roster. I mean, you look on that bench and you're like, hey, like who else I got down there?
And I think looking at Minnesota too is like we gotta come back to this conversation too. If they don't do anything this year, AE might be gone. Like I feel like, yo, he might as well put a gun to their head. We got to get Giannis. Bruh, they have to do something, bro. They can't just rock with this roster, how it's currently constructed, get dropped off in the playoffs, and think AE is just going to stick around. Bro, no.
Yeah, that's true.
They got to do something, bro.
So I guess from what you said, it sounds like they need to do whatever they can to go get Giannis.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. At this point, because we see with this roster, they aren't winning a championship with this roster. That's the ultimate goal, right?
Yeah.
Are we trying to win a championship or not? If that is the case, the way this roster is currently constructed, you are not winning the championship. I don't care who you believe in on this roster, not winning the championship in the Western Conference. You're not making it out the Western Conference with this roster. As much as I love this roster, I love Jaden, I love Naz Reid, I love AE, not getting it done. So if that's the case, and we see that we keep falling short, at what point do we say, let's try something else? They already tried to move Cat. That wasn't the solution. You gotta do something, yo. Go big or go home.
Yeah, that's true. I agree. I don't know if they can get it done. I feel like the only way they can get it done, because they don't have picks, Giannis literally gonna have to say, I want to go to Minnesota. And even with that, is like, I know we say, oh yeah, like, you know, it's the championship contenders, but it's like you still need more. Personally, like that roster is just not good, and you don't have a lot of shooting on that roster, and you already don't have picks. So it's like you can kind of get around it by like getting through your 20, 33, 34, but you're going to have to include some of those, go get Giannis in the first place. So it's like you're going to be stuck, and it could easily look like the Phoenix Suns last year, where it's just like, man, you have a lot of good pieces, but the team sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's going to be interesting for Minnesota. It's like, can they make a move with other teams to go get those draft picks to try to have that flexibility to make a big move? So if not, you kind of stuck with what you got unless you plan on trading.
Yep. The Lakers.
Pretenders. We don't have to spend a lot of time on this. I know how you feel about the Lakers. They're pretenders.
Oh, oh man. Wow. Yeah, I agree. They're pretenders. Probably.
You thought I was going to say contenders? Absolutely not.
I didn't know. I left some room for hope. I didn't know what you were going to say. So, let's stay there. So the pretending Lakers. So there have been reports. I was looking on YouTube and Twitter today. They were talking about how there's going to be a breakup this offseason with LeBron and the Lakers. It's near the end. So I guess I have two questions. Currently constructed, what do you do in the offseason? Do you trade him? What does this look like? And number two is for Luka, what is the piece that works with Luka in the longevity to win championships? Because I think Luka is the kind of player that can get you there. But, I don't know their cap situation, their pick situation to get Luka that right guy. And what does that look like moving forward?
First off, I think LeBron is going to retire. Okay. I don't think he's going to another team. I don't see them having to even go through the process of trying to move him. I just don't see that happening at this stage in his career. Like, I feel like I said, like, he's probably going to make an announcement at All-Star Weekend that this is his last year. That wouldn't surprise me. So I think he goes out and rides out this year and finishes the season and he hangs it up. Two, where do they go from construction-wise? You got AR, backcourt solidified. If you believe in Ayton, you stick with him. If not, I mean, you got to find a big that can play with him. We saw when Luka was in Dallas, the Livelies, the what's the other buddy name?
You talking about Maverick? You talking about Gafford? Yeah,
Gafford. The athletic type bigs, long athletic, can defend, gonna dunk the ball, catch lobs. Other than that, I mean, you gotta have defenders and shooters surrounding Luka. They got Marcus Smart still. You got AR. Go find some wings that can shoot the ball. Go get a DeAndre Hunter or something. I think that's the style that kind of fits. But you need also depth. You can't just be relying on Luka. Like, go get you a solid backup point guard. I don't trust the Lakers bench right now.
Yeah. I mean, I hear you with the shooters, but I don't think shooters are just enough. I think the year that they won with the Mavericks, like you could pass the ball to Kyrie and he was a go get a bucket guy. Like
I think AR could be that guy for them. He's showing it this year. He's averaging 26 this year.
Sure. There's no doubt that he's a scorer.
He can be that Robin type player.
I don't know. That I feel like,
bro, he's showing it this year. What more does he need to show you?
I hear you. I see it. Listen, you know how I feel about Indiana. This is how I feel about AR. I see it. I'm going to have to see it in the playoffs for me to believe that he can be a second option on a championship team. Personally, right now, I don't.
But see, like, I feel like also a part of that conversation, too, is just like this roster is not going to be able to show you that AR can be the second option on a championship contending team.
That's fair. I just don't know what immediate moves that you can make to bolster up that roster without including AR in the conversation. Like, what other tradable piece do you have?
Rui?
Come on.
Bro, he's still young. Somebody will take him. He what, 28?
For what?
28?
For what?
I don't know, bro, but you can get something for him.
Yeah.
Go get a couple picks or something, or another role player. Like that's my thing though. Like when I say like go get shooting, it's like the ball is going to be in Luka's hands. Like nobody else is going to have the ball in their hands, having to facilitate, nothing like that. Like AR can literally be the shooting guard and go get a bucket when they need it. That's literally his only role. So it's like, why not go get more shooters that when Luka decides to pass the ball, they can knock down a shot.
Yeah.
Go get you like I said, like a reliable big. I don't think Luka's that type of player that needs other stars to play with him.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if you get solid enough role players that can do their job and defend, that's really the biggest thing. You need defense and you need shooters.
Yeah. I'm trying to look at their roster. I forgot about Dalton Connect. But he's, good as going. Jake Arabia, Jackson Hayes, Jared Vanderbilt, Gabe Benson, Maxi Kleber, Drew Timme.
This isn't a good roster. Bro, you have Luka and you have AR and you have LeBron and you have Ayton.
Yeah.
I think though, I mean, if LeBron retires, okay, cool. You got Luka, you got AR. If you believe in Ayton, you keep Ayton. If not, you got Luka, you got AR, and you blow the rest of it up. And you build around those two.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
Like, I don't think this roster is going to look, if LeBron retires, this roster is not going to look the same next year. It's going to be a totally different roster. Like, if LeBron retires, like I said, bro, I'm building around Luka and I'm building around AR. Everybody else can go, literally.
Yeah.
There are no untouchables on this team outside of if I'm the Lakers organization, Luka and AR, and if Bron retires.
Yeah. Okay, let's keep going. Well, I guess, we talked about the Clippers and the Warriors. Do you believe the Suns are a contender or a pretender?
No, pretender. I didn't, like I said earlier, I didn't expect them to be in 7th.
Yeah.
So you asking me if I think they can win a championship? Absolutely not.
Yeah. And I know how you feel about the Trailblazers. So
yeah, they're not.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Good luck.
Yeah. So we can segue to the big news. Giannis. We talked about it last time, but I want to put some definites and just look at what it looks like if the trade happens, right? So I'm gonna start with your team. So you got the Knicks, your big market. Finally, you have a functioning front office, and honestly, a fan base after last year who is starving for a championship. I think anything less than a championship or even a finals run is a bust because you let go of Thibodeau for this very reason. You have picks, you have the young pieces, and you've been aggressive in going after stars historically. Like, obviously with the Melo deal, but like Giannis at Madison Square Garden, do you think that happens? Or do you think that this is still wishful thinking for the Knicks?
I think it depends on what the package looks like, in all honesty. You know how I feel about Mikal and OG. Like, I feel like those guys are more important than Cat.
Yeah.
Me personally. Like, I'm not moving either one of those guys. But if Giannis is a potential move, I'm sure one of those guys are going to be a part of that. If it were me, I would move Cat and Mikal maybe. I'm keeping OG. I got to keep OG. Mm-hmm. I just love his defense and his ability to shoot the three. I think that he can be a valuable third option. Doesn't necessarily need the ball, but can get a bucket and shown to get a bucket when given the opportunity. But it could happen. Would I be mad if it didn't happen? No. But Cat has been up and down. So I mean, we'll see. I wouldn't be mad. I think it definitely helps, but I think it depends on what the package looks like.
Agreed. I think the biggest struggle, like I told you before the call, they're having trouble getting a third team to take on the Cat deal, which is understandable because now you're going to have to take on that contract and give up picks for that. I think the downside for the Knicks is that you got the depth that you currently have, and if you don't get the title in the next, let's say 1 or 2 years, you're kind of set back for years because you've given up picks with the Michael deal. Presumably, you're going to give up picks with the Giannis deal, and that roster can get expensive really quickly, and you have to make some tough decisions. But also, too, I like to see certain teams be good and be in contention every year, and I just don't think the Knicks are that team right now. But I think the Knicks with Giannis, it adds a little bit of spunk to the NBA story, and I think as just the NBA fan, you want to see these big markets be good. Like even when we talk about the Lakers, like the NBA is good when the Lakers are contenders, and I think certain organizations like the Knicks and Lakers should be good. I mean, I think the same thing with Boston. I'm trying to think of a trade that Giannis gets there and you can continue to keep enough pieces to win. I agree with you on the OG move. Obviously, like you're going to have to put Michael in that trade. Cat's going to be on another team in that third team deal. But I think for the Knicks to win this deal, Giannis is going to have to force his way there so that the Knicks have all the leverage. So you don't trade a bunch of picks. So you can continue to have your future outlook. And, if you don't win this year or next year, you can still have pieces through the draft, or you can trade those picks to get pieces. But if they're going to have to make a Godfather offer, I don't enjoy it for the Knicks.
See, my only thing is with that too is just like I feel like every NBA team doesn't have the luxury of getting both, right? Of where you can have these star players and still have a future, right? Like if the Knicks are going to go all in to try to get Giannis, like you said, like they have to get a championship. And within the next, 1 to 3 years, right? If that happens, cool. I'm totally fine as a fan not having a future if that happens.
Mm-hmm.
If it doesn't happen, we did all of that and we didn't get a championship with Giannis. Now it's like, dang, we tried to make a move and it didn't work. And it's just like, dog, like now we don't have a future and we don't got no championship. It's like, dang, we might as well keep what we got right now. And I think that's the conversation that they're probably having. It's like, okay, do we stick with what we have right now and just hope that that's enough? And like you said, like we talked about before the season, it's like this is the same team pretty much as last year. They added Jordan Clarkson, they added a few pieces off the bench, but like the core of this team is the same team from last year that made a deep playoff run. You fired a coach. It hasn't necessarily been the best looking on either side of the ball for the team. It's just like, was it necessarily the coach or was it the roster?
Yeah.
So now I think they're having those tough conversations of like, dang, maybe we should have kept Tibbs. Maybe it wasn't Tibbs. And now it's like, okay, do we try to make a big splash to go get Giannis? If they're able to get a championship, cool. I'm fine with not having a future and not having draft picks in the next few years or whatever the case may be. But if you do make this move, you don't have any draft picks. You talked about the Michael deal. They gave up, 5 or 6 draft picks for him?
Yeah.
And now you're considering moving him again? Like, dog, give it some time.
That's a fact.
Me and John talked about this on the NFL episode. It's like, one, from a coach's perspective, like you got to give this coach some time. You can't just, I mean, yes, you expected Mike Brown to come in and get them over the hump, but it's like it's not that simple.
Yeah.
So we gonna see. We gonna
Okay,
see.
let's go to the Warriors. They're already been mentioned in the superstar talks. Obviously, they're trying to get somebody to pair with Steph in order to go on this last championship run. Jonathan Kuminga, he's been flagged as one of the likely players to get moved at the deadline. So I guess we can have a separate Jonathan Kuminga conversation. But I think the upside with the Warriors making this move is you get Giannis plus this last chapter of Steph. And I think that spurt that Steph gave you in the Olympics is something that I think could be done in the playoffs. I don't know for how long, but to see him have not having to carry as much and having Giannis, which is going to change every defensive rotation, I think is going to be interesting to see versus the teams in the West. The downside is you're betting a lot on a very aging core, and honestly, even though it changes the defensive rotations and strategy, a team like San Antonio is like, we've got the depth and we've got Wemby, and y'all gonna have to gut y'all's rosters. So I don't know how terrifying it is to some of those teams that have young talent depth and they have pieces like De'Aaron Fox who are veterans. So I don't know. That's a bet, but I would love to see it. Curious to know what it'll look like, and obviously, if they don't win this year, what does that look like going forward? Do you move Draymond? Is Draymond involved in this trade? What do you do with Kuminga? Because their young pieces aren't necessarily elite.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be the conversation for them. It's like, once again, it's like, what does the package look like for Giannis? I think that's the biggest question with a lot of these teams, because if you look at it, I mean, yeah, if you got Steph and you got Giannis, that's cool. You got Draymond. I assume Draymond stays in a Giannis trade. I assume they give up Kuminga, Moody, maybe Pod, somebody. They got a few young pieces that they can move, but it's like, and I assume draft picks as well, of course. But if they can keep Giannis, Steph, Draymond, you bring back a healthy Jimmy Butler next year, they could probably do something if everybody's healthy. But if you got to give up Draymond and everybody else, not named Jimmy or Steph, you're not going to be able to do nothing. I mean, I think for this year, it would help. But like you said, like, I don't think anybody's fearing that right now. You still got to think it's going to take time to figure it out on the court. But I do think that adding Giannis offensively and defensively helps them. Gives them a true rim protector on the defensive end, versatile defender. I know you mentioned the Spurs. I'm not saying he could stop Wemby, but like, that gives you somebody who could possibly guard him if you add Giannis. So, I mean, it could help for sure. But like you said, and like we talked about, what does that package look like?
All right. Miami. I feel like because Miami is Miami, they're in every big star conversation. So there's talk of them juggling pieces like Bam, Tyler Hero, Khalil Ware. And we talked about this briefly with the pretenders and contenders. I think the upside is that the Heat culture with Giannis defensively, I think, can be, an all-time team. I don't know what they will look like offensively outside of Giannis. Obviously, with him running a point forward, we know that 26, 27 a night will come from him. But if you have to trade Hero, what does that look like? Do you go surround him with shooters? And what kind of shooters does Giannis need? And kind of the same situation as the Warriors and the Knicks. It's like, you've already burned a bunch of picks. So it's like, how deep can you really dive into the asset pool in order to compete, number one, with Knicks, Warriors, and Timberwolves and all these teams that are making offers? And is it worth making a Godfather offer right now? Or do you just wait and whatever team gets Giannis, or if they don't get Giannis, let's wait to the offseason to make a more manageable move.
Yeah, I think for them, they're definitely going to send offers. As far as like, if I'm Miami, I'm trying to keep Bam and I'm trying to keep Hero at all costs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to give them up. I think also for Miami, it's understanding that even if we do get Giannis right now, this is for the future, right? Yeah. Like, you're not going to win a championship this year with Giannis. I'm just going to say it right here, right now. Even if you get Giannis right now, you're still able to keep Bam and Tyler Hero. They're not winning a championship this year.
Mm-hmm.
I think you still have to surround them with talent in the offseason. But I think Miami, as we've talked about in previous off seasons, is a premier destination for free agents, especially big name free agents like Giannis, right? So if they can wait, cool. If not, as long as I'm not giving up Bam and Tyler Hero and we can get a deal done, cool.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's more so a move for the future for them. I don't think it's a championship window right now for them. I still think they have some holes on the roster that they need to fill. If they're able to pull off this trade, but I think if they are able to pull off this trade, that's a big start to
your offseason,
get back to contention and truly competing for a championship if you're the Miami Heat organization.
Agreed. Yeah, I can see it like that. And obviously Spo has history of working with stars, so you don't have to worry about it from a coaching perspective. I'm just curious to know, like they do land a trade, and let's say they have to give a bunch of picks to do so and a bunch of players. It's like, where do you start? Because obviously, cap situation between Bam and Giannis is, going to be, near the ceiling. But, do you go get a mid-level exception? What does that look like? Chris Middleton? Like, I'm just trying to figure out what that piece is, because I think they're going to need a third piece to compete in the East, personally. But even with that, what do the shooters look like? Is that a Malik Monk? I don't know.
Yeah, you definitely got to get some shooters. If Hero is involved in that trade, you definitely got to go get some shooters. But that cap situation is going to be interesting because, like you said, Bam and Giannis is going to be getting paid. So we're going to see.
Yeah. All right. So last team in, the front runners is the Timberwolves. So we talked about them just now. They were among the list of the teams that are actively trying to get a third or fourth team to make the trade happen. So I'll say for me, upside is Giannis and Ant together is box office. I think it's the nastiest two-way duo in the league. And I believe that instantly they compete for a championship. This is what AE needs, because we know AE can pop off for 40. And we know the same thing for Giannis. So you can win different ways with different types of play styles. The downside for me, though, is because they don't have picks, how do you maintain the value to make it attractive to Milwaukee without wrecking your depth? Because they haven't played Rob Dillingham, you can't just put Rob Dillingham in the package and make that, an attractive offer. But you're going to have to give your Terrence Shannons. Obviously, I think Mike is in Milwaukee. Dante is in Milwaukee. Picks. Maybe Rudy. Like, I just don't know what gets the deal done. And is it worth all that for Minnesota?
I think if you're trying to win the championship, you make it worth it.
But does
like we talked about earlier, though, like, this roster is not getting it done.
But what you're saying, though,
you can't pick and choose if you want to hold on to talent and they're not getting it done. If they are getting it done, I'm going to try to make a big splash to go get Giannis, regardless of what it takes.
There's no difference, though, if they have to wipe their roster. What's the difference between them and the Heat? They're on the same timeline as the Heat. Then you better just wait till the
You have Giannis and you have AE. That's not the same, bro. They do not have an AE in Miami.
But it's like, and what? What now?
Bro, that might be enough. That might be enough.
I don't know, bro. You need a
Look,
point. You need
bro,
shooters.
look at the past few teams that have won it. It's been 2-star teams. You got 2 stars. Build around that.
Correct. That 2-star teams that had an off season to prepare for this. You're gutting the
Okay,
roster in the middle of the season.
but maybe that's what they have to do. That's what I'm saying. With all of these teams, they have to make a move, bro. Unless it's like the Knicks, nobody should be thinking about winning a championship this year.
Yeah, okay. I agree with you. I thought you were saying like they can gut their roster and win a championship this year. I don't agree with that. I think
No,
they would have to wait for the offseason to make some moves.
definitely.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think they're making a commitment to AA and say, hey, you can go off this season if you don't win. We have a plan. We have a Giannis piece in here for the future. Yeah, for sure.
And that keeps him around.
Yeah.
Because if you don't make a move for Giannis right now, or even in the offseason, put together a plan to go get him in the offseason, AE is about to leave. I promise you. He's not about to stick around and they keep getting dropped off in the playoffs.
Yeah.
It's not happening.
Okay, so do you see a surprise team? Do you think a dark horse team is gonna enter the mix and can get the deal done?
No. Unless it's somebody like the Pistons, but like I don't think the Pistons are gonna make no drastic moves right now. Like right now, like before the deadline, I don't see a dark horse sneaking in there. Now, if you asking me this in the offseason, if Giannis hasn't been moved before the deadline, it's free game. Anybody could make a move then. Especially if they fall short in the regular season what they have, or in the postseason what they currently have. Anybody can make a move for Giannis. But I think right now, you're only gonna see a few teams that either think they're contenders or trying to get over the hump that's going to try to make a move for Giannis, unless you're Miami or, the Timberwolves and you're thinking long term.
Could Philly make a move?
No, they're not making a move. I don't see that happening. Why would they? And who would they give up? Because Paul George is suspended right now. They're probably not taking Embiid. They're not trading Maxey. You giving up VJ. Adam Silver's not going for that, bro. you think Adam Silver is going to allow them to keep Embiid, Maxey, Paul George on suspension, and get Giannis? Absolutely not.
Trying to think of dark horses.
Assuming that they can't trade Paul George while he's suspended. Now, if Paul George is a part of that trade, maybe it could happen. If you do Paul George and VJ and something else and some picks, maybe it could happen, but I don't see them doing that.
Yeah. Let's talk about other dominoes real quick. Is AD still on the Mavs this about the trade deadline?
I mean, I think so. I think he stays on the roster. At this point, I mean, unless something comes through in the next couple days that something's changed. I mean, I haven't really heard much about AD or anything in the news in the past week. So unless somebody trying to pull some strings behind the scenes that we haven't heard about, I think he's going to be on the Mavericks team. And I'm not mad at it because I want to see how this team looks when they're healthy.
Yeah.
They don't have Kyrie. AD's hurt right now. I thought they would be a playoff team this year. They're near the bottom of the West. So if Kyrie comes back healthy, if AD comes back healthy, how does that look with Cooper Flag? I mean, I'm interested to see how that looks before they make a decision to trade anybody. I want to see how that looks.
Yeah. I'm curious to know, what the Mavs fans' expectation is, because when you're that close to the finals, and obviously the Luka trade happens, are they expecting to see like Cooper Flag just develop? Because at the beginning of the year we were talking about this team low key could be a contender, because they had the offensive firepower, defensive, intensity with Gafford, AD, Lively, and you had obviously Kyrie would be coming back at the end of the season where they could potentially make a run. Obviously, kind of a slight drop off with Clay, but they have enough pieces to go win now. So it's like, you don't win now, what do you do with the Cooper Flag timeline? Do you just surround him with that same veteran presence? Because it's only going to get more expensive when you have to pay Lively and you have to pay Gafford. And what does your bench look like? I'm just curious to know what the timetable, because you have such a veteran mix with Cooper.
And that's why I think like we have to see how this team looks when they're healthy.
Yeah.
Like I think that's going to answer a lot of their questions. Once Kyrie comes back, once AD is healthy, it's like, okay, where are we at in the standings? If they're still at the bottom of the standings with everybody healthy, bro, I'm trading everybody outside of Flag. Like we just gonna get young. At that point, there's no need for me to keep y'all, and we still sorry. So I'm trading everybody, but I got to see what that looks like when they're healthy, because I don't know yet. Like, I'm not just going to sit here and say, let's go get some older guys and surround him by veterans if I don't know what my team looks like when we're healthy. We just going to go get young guys and try to figure that out. I got to see how my team looks. If I'm leading the team.
That's fair.
And we've seen them, Mark Cuban's out the way. Buddy that made a Luka trade out the way. It's like
Nico, yeah.
What does the leadership look like from Dallas? So we might have to question that.
MPJ.
I think he stays until the end of the season. Should a team try to go get him? Maybe. I know we talked about the Pistons a little bit previous episodes. I just don't see it. I don't see them making that big of a move right now. I know you think they need more shooters and another scorer, but I don't see them making a move like that right now with the way this team has been playing. Like we talked about, like their standings in the East, bro. If they were 4th or 5th in the East, maybe they consider making a move for MPJ to try to get them over the hump. Yeah. But I think with them being at the top of the East right now, I don't see them making a move. Could the Warriors make a move for him? Maybe, but they're not winning a championship this year. So it's like, yeah, you go get MPJ, but it's like, we're just going to hang around 6th, 7th place. I don't think you give up anything crazy to go get MPJ right now. So I think he stays until the offseason, and then somebody will try to either go get him in free agency or go try to make a trade for him.
I'm trying to think where he would be the best fit, because he's kind of expensive. I like that Warriors idea, but that was pre-Butler, like the Butler injury. Because I think he would have added a little bit more spacing to what they currently have. I like the Pistons. The only thing about the Pistons, though, is like, is that the move I'm ready to make right now? Because, I think he's a good role player, but I think being a second option is a different responsibility.
I don't know though, bro. If they believe Dorn is that second option, he could just come in and be that third option. You just got a lights out shooter as a third option.
Yeah, but I just know I know the way MPJ has played, and I know the way MPJ has wanted to play. And that when you get a taste of the Nets and having power, you're not just going to slide into a third option. Like,
Bro, you got Cade though, bro, and you coming into a situation where you're trying to win a championship at this point. Like you have to change your mindset, and bro, you have to go back to the Nuggets days, bro. You
I
got to
hear
go
you.
back to how you hoop with the Nuggets, bro.
Trust me, I hear you. But when you go from the Nuggets and having to be the third option, and take shots when you can, to getting a taste of the Nets and just doing whatever you want.
But also, I think that like the
Bro.
line is blurred between second and third option between him and Durant, which is a good thing for him, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not a clear identity of like when he was with the Nuggets, he was the third option, maybe fourth, depending on how Aaron Gordon was playing. Now you're the second or third option behind Cade. Bro, you're still going to be getting your shots. You're still going to be getting your looks. It just might look a little bit different because the ball isn't in your hands as much.
Fair. But I think there has to be a culture shift and say, hey, are you willing to do this? Because you've already established the culture, and you can't have MJ and come and mess it up.
But bro, I get what you're saying. Yes, he can't come in and mess it up. I get it. But like, this is only a sample size of half a season of him being a top option.
Like, it's okay.
If you wait and you give this man, Jordan Poole, when he went with the Wizards, when he went from the Warriors to the Wizards for all them years and then went to the Pelicans, okay, cool. If you were making that case, cool. I get your point. MPJ has been doing this for 30 games. Bro, snap back, bro. We need you to go back to Denver Nuggets days, bro. He can do it. I promise you he can do it. This is not a Jordan Poole situation where like he was given the keys in Washington just putting up garbage numbers. That's not the case for years. This is a small sample size of MPJ. You got it out your system. Cool. We need you to go back to this type of hooping. And we trying to win a championship. And you could be a second or third type option. Contract up next year. So why not run it?
I hear you. I just don't know. I have to do some real evaluation before I do that. Ja.
I think that's gonna be an off-season thing.
Do you think so? I guess, do you see any other big moves in 3 days? Obviously, I don't want to talk about Kuminga because I'm kind of done with the whole. Just send him to the Kings. Like,
just send him to the Kings.
Just send him to the Kings, man. Like, kind of done with this talk.
Nah, I don't like I talked about earlier, bro. Like, I don't think that any of the true contenders are going to make a big splash right now. I think a lot of these teams are just going to rock out with what they have. You even look at the Rockets, like, could they use another shooter? Yes, but like, could they use a backup center or a point guard? Yes, but like, I don't think they're going to make this major move to go get an MPJ or a Ja or anything like that to try to put them over the hump. I don't see anything crazy like that happening with a couple days before the deadline. Now, come the off season, sure. But also, like we talked about, the big domino is Giannis.
Giannis, yeah.
That's the big domino. I feel like everybody's waiting on that. Once we see what happens with that, it might be some smaller moves that get made. But we're going to see.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Listen, I think that really sums it up, man. I think we kind of hit on everything. I think in the next few days, for everybody listening, we could wake up and Giannis is on a totally new team. Kuminga is finally gone from Golden State. We have MPJ on a different team, or we could just, like I said before, have a quiet deadline and we just push all this talk to more episodes leading into the off season. But either way, I think that this week is a big fork in the road moment. We as NBA fans can either keep talking about, what's going to happen in the off season, or we can actually have emergency podcast episodes because Giannis is a Knick or a Timberwolf. And I think that regardless, we're due for an interesting postseason because, like we talked about before, I think we have what do we count, like 6 or 7 contenders to win the NBA Finals. So I definitely think that this is going to be not a sweep for any team. I think there's going to be some intriguing matchups in the first and second round. So I'm excited to see what the second half of the postseason looks like. But as always, we want to thank everybody who tuned in with us in these two hours, basically, to listen to NBA content. And if you have not subscribed to us, go ahead, Ando.
One thing before we close this thing out, right?
Okay, all right.
Shout out to the Hornets, man. Shout out to the Hornets. We ain't talking about them all episodes.
Subscribing to our podcast. You don't
bro, the Hornets been hooping, bro. Don't do the boys like that, bro. they definitely pretenders, but they deserve a little shout out, man. Shout out to the Hornets, bro. Them boys been playing good recently, bro. Them boys on a 7-game winning streak. Stop playing with them, bro. They got a chance to be in the play-in. Better than the Wizards.
You just go hold that over my head, huh?
That's absolutely. Hey, for real, man. Shout out to them, man. I definitely thought they was gonna be one of the worst teams in the East. Them boys been competing, man. They still they in 11th right now, but they are 3 games ahead of Milwaukee. There is a significant gap between them and the bottom. They are closer to the play-in than they are the bottom. So shout out to Charlotte.
Man, get better. That's the question. Get better. We'll talk about it on the off-season episode. But as always, thank you for everybody who's listening. If you know an NBA fan or if you know somebody who's trying to get into the NBA, send them this link. Like, follow, subscribe, tap into the comments. We want to hear from you. Let us know where we're right, where we're bogus. But we'll be in the comments to let you know where you bogus. So please make sure you come with stats and facts. That's it. But as always, we love you guys, and we will be back with more content. And if you would like to read, go to our Substack because we have articles posted every day. As always, peace.